As you know, the US has now surpassed China in becoming India's largest trading partner. And the India-US bilateral trade is now touching around $200 billion a year. Last year it was $192 billion. You know, when President Biden went to India as the vice president of this country, he had set a goal of having the bilateral trade to around $500 billion a year. Does the president still believes in that goal, and what steps his administration is taking to reach that goal of India-US bilateral trade of $500 billion a year?
Hey, y'all, come look at this.
Well, I'll say more broadly, as you know, the United States and India have a strong bilateral relationship, and that's including trade as well. Trade relationship, we're committed to continuing working together and in groups like the Quad to advance economic growth for our two countries and expand cooperation of our shared priorities. And that is a commitment that you can know that is coming from the United States.
Thanks, Karine. 69% of people polled by CNBC say they have a negative view of the economy. President Biden talks about the economy all the time. What? Why are people buying it?
He talks about the economy all the time because he wants the American people to know that he's doing everything that he can to make sure that his policies that he's put forward that has shown that he's building an economy that doesn't leave anybody behind. It builds an economy from the bottom up, middle out.
God have mercy upon us.
And he also talks about the economy, and when you hear him talk about the economy, he talks about how he's prioritizing making sure that we lower inflation. And that is where the American people are, meeting them where they are. He's going to continue to have that conversation. He understands how important that is for Americans, American families, and so he'll never shy away from that. I know you're reading a poll right now. That is one poll, but he's not going to stop talking about what the American people really care about, which is what are we doing here to make sure that we are addressing the issues and the concerns that they have.
Seriously?
Okay, on China is setting up police stations in the US. There's more proof now that they created COVID. There's reason to think that there were more spy balloons than the White House has said. Why is it taking so long for President Biden to call Xi and tell him to cut it out?
Hey, that's pretty good.
We have said over and over again that the president intends to call President Xi. I don't have a call to read out to you at this time. Look, and we've said this before, we believe it's important to maintain open lines of communication with China. We believe that it is an important bilateral relationship, the U.S.-China relationship, even as we're talking about strategic competition with China. And so that is not changed. We're going to continue to move forward in that way.
Oh, really?
One more. So Monday, you're going to have 3 of the lawmakers who protested
Peacefully protested.
Who peacefully protested after the Nashville Covenant School shooting. Have any of the victims or the victims' families been invited to the White House?
I don't have anything to read out to you about any invite.
Why?
Wow.
I just don't have anything at this time to read out to you at any invite. What I can say to you right now is that the president is focused on getting things done. He's focused on making sure that we are protecting our communities, that we're protecting our schools, that we're protecting our churches, we're protecting our grocery stores, that people, as we know in Buffalo, went to the grocery on a Saturday and got murdered. 10 of them were murdered. We see what's happening in our schools. And that's why he's bringing these legislators here, to have that conversation and to see what else can be done and to highlight that. That's what the president is using the bully pulpit for. That's why he continues to put pressure on Congress to get things done. Make sure that they're showing some courage, Republicans in Congress, to make sure that we're banning assault weapons. And so we cannot have weapons of war in our streets. We cannot have weapons of war in our schools. And so that's why he's bringing them there. He's bringing them here to continue that conversation. All right, go ahead, April.
Karine, 3 topics. 1, Tennessee.
3 topics? It's been a while, huh?
Tennessee legislative time has been truncated. What was the president's thoughts about that, as the governor had said that he wanted to move forward with even red flag laws, and now Republicans truncated that time? It was supposed to be longer, a couple weeks longer, and it now ends Friday of this
Can
week.
you say the beginning of the question? I'm so sorry. What? I'm sorry.
What are the president's thoughts about the Tennessee Legislative Assembly time being truncated, cut short, after the governor had said that he wanted red flag laws and maybe even wanted to compromise with some other things, and now it seems like they may get the budget done and nothing else?
Well, look, it is shameful and unfortunate what we see these MAGA Republicans in Congress and across the country in state houses are doing on an issue. Again, I just laid this out for Peter, on an issue that is so important to the American people. Gun violence is an epidemic in our country. It's killing our kids. What? Guns are the #1 killer of our children, and it's only going up. We should be doing, as adults, we should be doing everything that we can to protect our children. That is on us to do. This is a president that has taken action after action after action to do just that, to protect our community. But as we understand, as you all know, it takes legislation to continue the work. That's why we're asking Congress to do more. That's why we're calling on House Republicans to do more. And we should see that same type of action in state houses as well.
You sure about that?
Next question. Do you know of any movement, any efforts to extradite the suspects in the Shankola Robinson murder?
I don't have any information on that. I would refer you to the Department of Justice.
What are the efforts by this administration as the nation is waiting to find out the decision on affirmative action in the Supreme Court? What are the next steps? Because, the thought is that it will be overturned. Affirmative action that could have tentacles not only just in that case, but in the historic Brown v. Board and in other pieces of affirmative action and DEI around the nation.
Now, answer me.
Seriously?
So what I can say is the president supports making higher education accessible to all Americans. As the Department of Justice argued in court, it is important that our colleagues and universities produce graduates who are from all segments of society, who are prepared to succeed and lead an increasingly diverse nation. The Supreme Court reaffirmed this less than a decade ago in Fisher versus University of Texas at Austin, and it should do so again.
But again, it has tentacles beyond education into the broader society, workplace, into the broader society, workplace, etc. What does the president say about that as he stood to run on equity and inclusion?
Mm-hmm. And you said it right there, April. He stood to run on equity and inclusion, and he has shown that throughout his administration. One of the first executive orders that he signed was to make sure we saw that type of diversity, that we were leading with diversity in our different agencies and departments, and that is what the executive order one of the first executive order that he signed. Make sure that the federal government was leading with that lens and was taking action to make sure that there is inclusion and diversity. So he has walked the talk. And so the president is something that he has always said. He's going to make sure that no one gets left behind. I've talked numerous times about his economic policies. He does that, and any other policies that he's put forward, and make sure that again no one gets left behind. That we'll make sure there's inclusion and diversity at the center of everything.
Now I feel better.